Record of Ragnarok is a Japanese manga that just recently got an anime with 12 episodes released on Netflix. The basic premise is that gods have decided they want to end humanity. Don't we all? But humanity gets one last shot at survival by fighting against the gods in a 1v1 matches, with the first to 7 victories being the victor. I haven't read the manga myself, but I heard about the basic premise and really liked the character design, so I was looking forward to watching it. But I have to say, I was kind of disappointed. Usually fights between crazy strong characters is right up my alley, but this show has quite a few glaring flaws, with it all boiling down to one major problem. It's boring. Wait, what? A show about gods and humans with crazy powers fighting each other is boring? That can't be right, can it? My first problem is there's basically no story. It pretty much all comes down to who will win each round. That by itself wouldn't be a major issue if the fights and characters were super engaging, but the problem is they weren't. Which leads me into my next issue, the characters. While they look cool, there's really barely any reason to care about them. Just like anyone else, I love a good tournament arc, but usually tournaments are filled with characters we grow to know over time, and we finally get to see them go head to head. In this show, two characters we barely know, who don't even know each other, just have to fight and see who wins. The fights are laced with flashbacks, which help a bit with getting to know the characters, but it doesn't give us much, and comes with the double-edged sword of interrupting the battle. And that's going to lead me right into my next issue, the pacing. This show is paced extremely slowly. Each fight takes 4 episodes, so there's only a total of 3 fights this season, which wouldn't be a problem for me if they were just long fights, but they aren't. It's mostly 4 episodes of standing around, explaining moves, backstory, and the peanut gallery. The first fight was literally only a few moves, and like I said, it took 4 episodes. The second and third fight weren't as bad, but they aren't leagues better. The peanut gallery is probably the worst offender in regards to wasting time. In other shows you at least somewhat care about the opinions and reactions of the other characters you got to know over the series, but in this one they're just random characters from the human's backstory and some gods we barely know reacting. The first fight is the worst offender in this regard, with the people from the human fighter's past having full conversations with each other multiple different times, and they don't even show up in his flashbacks. He also had a high-pitched squealing fanboy that was really annoying, and a bunch of drummers that kept being shown drumming over and over and over again, adding nothing to the show but the time it's wasting to my life. And with every new fight, these humans get replaced by new humans from the next human's past, so it's not like these background characters are building to anything or we're learning more about them as time goes on. They just waste our time and then they're gone, only to be replaced by the next background character. On the god side, it's a bit better, as we grow to learn more about the gods as time goes on, as they remain the same through each fight. Even when they're fighting, it honestly isn't even that great. It's usually one character doing an attack and then it's landed or countered. There's a lot of still or repeating frames, and barely any dynamic animation. The way the fights are done probably worked a lot better in manga format, but in animation, it's just kind of stale. And it's not that it looks bad per se, it just isn't exciting. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, so I'll give some positives. The art's good, the character designs are cool, and most importantly, it's one of those shows where you really don't know which side's gonna win. In most fights you kind of know who's gonna win, usually the good guy or the protagonist. But in this show there's no real good guy or main character, and each fight's a true mystery to who's gonna win. I will say I did pretty much know who was gonna win round 3 though. I still think the premise is interesting, and I am a bit interested in where it will lead, so if more of the anime comes out, I'll probably watch it. But I don't think this series is a must-watch. The first fight by itself would probably be like a 3 or 4 out of 10, with the second and third fights being a bit better at a 5 or 6 out of 10, with the entire show being at best a 5 out of 10 for me. I really only recommend it if you're really into ancient gods and historic figures and want to see them kill each other. You won't be missing much if you don't see it, and you may just be saving your time.